Welcome to the Intertribal Agriculture Council webinar series. Today's topic is the Department of Defense Fresh Fruits and Vegetables program. That is an opportunity for vendors to sell fresh produce, fruits and vegetables to the federal government, which allows those vegetables to enter into the Commodity Food Distribution Program on Indian reservations and other federal outlets. We have Food Nutrition Service with us today, and they're going to be providing an overview of the Department of Defense Fresh Fruits and Vegetables program. I'll turn it over to USDA.
Thanks, Dan. Hello, this is Kathleen Staley, Chief of Program Integrity and Monitoring Branch, and Blair Tucker-Gachala is going to give you an overview today of the USDA DoD Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. So this program has been in place since 1995 and is a great collaboration and partnership between the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Department of Defense, and we are leveraging the procurement system that the Department of Defense has in place to provide food products to all of the troops and the bases around the world. We leverage this program so that we can provide fresh fruits and vegetables to the National School Lunch Program and to our food distribution program on Indian reservations. As Blair will walk you through the details, she will explain how this is an opportunity for tribal growers to work with the DoD contracted produce vendors to provide locally produced product through the food distribution on Indian reservation program. So Blair, if you would please.
Thank you, Kathy. Through the United States Department of Agriculture, Department of Defense Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, known as the USDA DoD Fresh Program, the USDA is able to offer a wider variety of fresh produce than would normally be available through USDA purchases to schools and Indian tribal organizations. This webinar, The Basics, will outline the history of the USDA DoD Fresh program and how the program operates. The objectives of this webinar will be to describe the history of the USDA DoD Fresh program. We'll explain how the program operates, define the stakeholders' roles and responsibilities, and address produce quality and variety. Lastly, we'll provide a list of resources and contacts. The history of the USDA DoD Fresh program began in 1995 when the Food and Nutrition Service signed an agreement with the Department of Defense's Defense Logistics Agency, known as DLA, to leverage DoD's existing procurement infrastructure to provide food, including fresh produce, to military bases. Schools were requesting more fresh fruit and vegetable options, and DoD had procurement contracts with numerous produce vendors to supply produce to military bases. This collaborative partnership was an excellent way to leverage DoD's procurement system to provide a variety of nutritious fresh fruits and vegetables to schools and Indian tribal organizations known as ITOs. Because of the success of the USDA DoD Fresh program for schools, in 1996, the program was piloted for the Food Distribution Program on Indian reservations, known as FDPIR, with 2 ITOs. By 2007, there were 99 ITOs participating, which represented 90% of the FDPIR program. Today, there are 102 ITOs and 3 state agencies that directly administer the FDPIR, reaching approximately 276 tribes across the country. On average, FDPIR serves over 93,000 individuals each month. Next, we have a visual depiction of how the USDA DoD Fresh program operates. U.S. produce growers supply produce that meets requirements to USDA DoD Fresh produce vendors. All produce suppliers must follow food safety practices. USDA produce vendors distribute produce to participating USDA government or customers within their zones. The USDA DoD Fresh produce vendor is responsible for the procurement, storage, distribution, and invoicing. Delivery times are established by the vendor and customer. Vendors are also strongly encouraged to purchase as much locally grown produce as seasonally available in the quantity and quality needed to support all customers. The favors catalog will indicate which items are coming from local sources. Favors stands for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Order Receipt System. This is the ordering mechanism for the USDA DoD Fresh program. Produce vendors update the items and prices in the Favors catalog each Sunday. Orders are placed in Favors as early as 5 days or as late as 72 hours prior to delivery. The vendors are able to see the orders 72 hours prior to delivery, giving the vendor time to bring in the produce for delivery to the customers. It is very important that the ITOs receipt in Favors within 5 days from receiving their delivery so the vendor can be paid. Successful program outcomes rest primarily on the efforts and accountability of various stakeholders. This document outlines the particular functions performed by stakeholders associated with the USDA DoD Fresh program. By defining the roles and responsibilities, we hope to improve overall stakeholder communication and clarify expectations. The USDA responsibilities include providing DLA with a listing of receiving agencies and the total entitlement allocation. The USDA monitors the entitlement utilization and works with DLA and the state agencies if there are issues with the utilization. The F&S Technology Branch maintains the favor system application. Most importantly, the USDA pays the DoD for produce purchases. When ITOs submit complaints to the USDA, either due to recurring quality issues or vendor performance issues, the USDA works with DoD to ensure the vendor is in compliance with the terms of the contract. DoD maintains high quality standards through produce quality audits, requiring vendors to follow good handling practices and requiring that produce is sourced from growers following good agricultural practices. DoD Fresh vendors offer a variety of produce items to FDPIR, which may include local produce. DLA defines local as produce grown within the state or adjacent states. Produce items may be added based on customer demand if the vendor can source them. The F&S Handbook 501 provides Indian tribal organizations and state agencies guidance on the administration of the food distribution program. The chapters within the handbook cover all aspects of the program, including financial management, certification of households, food ordering, and inventory. For the purposes of this webinar, the focus is on Exhibit O, page 4, which lists all of the approved produce items available to ITOs. The following slides will provide resources regarding the USDA DoD Fresh program, as well as the appropriate F&S and DLA contact information. The Food and Nutrition Service website provides history of the program and information about current operations, the USDA Farm-to-School Fact Sheet, Farm-to-School State Contacts, USDA DoD Fresh Contract Information, the DLA Service Representative Contact Information, as well as a link to access favors. The DLA website provides detailed information about how the USDA DoD Fresh program works, as well as the background. It also lists links to prime vendor contracts and delivery zones. The link provided in this slide takes you to the DLA website that provides information regarding the DoD Market Fresh contracts and solicitations for the USDA DoD Fresh vendors in different regions that deliver produce to schools and ITOs. CONUS stands for Continental United States. By clicking Market Fresh, you can access all of the produce contracts and solicitations for states within a particular region. Once you've selected the state, look for the produce section, which lists the contracts and solicitations for the USDA DoD Fresh vendors serving the Native American customers. This slide provides general information and guidance on good agricultural practices. For state-specific information, please contact your state's agricultural department for more specific information about GAP certification and training and audits. Thank you.
Kathy, are you there?
We are.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
No, we're good. So Dan, the most important piece of information that we added